Hello, this is a quick demo of latest release of KOF being version 1.1.0. Starts with upgrade instructions because if you're upgrading from earlier version, you need to manually apply the CRDs because Helm does not support upgrading of CRDs. This is the same that is mentioned in the Grafana operator release notes. Then the new docs section starts with the alerts. So we automate detection and notification about the issues found in the data. We switch to the cube Prometheus chart for the collection of alerts there, and we support per cluster customization, which I will mention soon. Also, we switched to proxy as the data source and executor of alerting rules because it fits better for the multi-cluster case and allows to gather some global error rates and other which would be very hard to do without a centralized part like proxy. There is a sections with examples of how to configure everything, starting with a quick demo of alert manager configuration. So with just a few lines added to your mothership values file, you can configure that alerts will be sent to some webhook and start receiving the default watchdog alerts and any other which will be firing on your cluster. If you want to configure something more advanced, for example, use Slack as a receiver, or you want to, for example, configure routing based on severity, source, other attributes, use multiple channels, use correlation across clusters to identify systematic issues and reduce noise of alerts by grouping them correctly. Everything is explained here in the advanced routing section with the links to appropriate guides. There are sections about alert manager user interface and Grafana alerting user interface, and even Prometheus user interface, which you can see if you follow the generator URL field from the alert you received in the receiver. There are a section, very important one, about how you can customize rules, because you can override any rule for any cluster, specifically for any group and alert itself, or overriding some thresholds or anything else. You can even create a complete new alerts this way. And it should not be just about some specific cluster. You can specify it for all clusters using this way. So there are also details about how rules are generated, both alerting rules and recording rules. It is quite tricky, but still this actually helps to understand how it works. There are also explanation of how the rules are executed, because this is different for the recording rules and for alerting rules, but they are connected. So I just recommend to dive into this guide, new guide, and read all the details. The next one is about KOF user interface. So you may remember that we use OpenTelemetry. And these OpenTelemetry collectors, the receivers are distributed across the cluster as shown here, and it is quite tricky to understand what actually we are scraping from where and if it is up or down. So now our KOF user interface, it collects metrics metadata exactly from the same endpoints that Prometheus collects the metrics from. So you can see it as a user interface and see which endpoints are used, which are up, which are down. So everything is here. The next one is Grafana SSO single sign-on. So initially Grafana was exposed just by port forwarding as a quick first solution. But now if you want production or single sign-on to Grafana, you can follow this advanced guide, which walks you through how to set up DEX, how to configure it to expose Grafana using single sign-on, and it's possible to, for example, configure Google authentication or anything else here. The next, there are a few more features that are scattered across documentation. For example, if we go to the installing of KOF, and we look into how child clusters are deployed. The cluster deployment has some labels and annotations to configure it. And for example, if you don't want to use automatically discovered regional cluster and you want to specify the regional cluster name, originally in the earlier versions, it is just created once and never updated. But now you can update all these annotations and labels, and Configurator will automatically update all the config maps, all the bindings and connections between child clusters, regional cluster, and so on. That's really important in the real use cases. Also, there is added support for custom image registries. So you can try to use the air gap, but you need to configure all this manually unless you use KOF Enterprise. Well, that's actually it. You can check other notable fixes, improvements, and all the details in the release notes of KOF version 1.10. Thanks.